You know, financial reports can feel like trying to read a completely foreign language, right? But what if you could translate them into a clear, compelling story? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do today with BLS E-Services.
I mean, we've all been there. You open up a report and it's just this massive wall of numbers. It feels kind of impossible to see the big picture unless you're a finance whiz.
But here's the secret. Behind every one of those numbers, there's a story. A story about growth, about financial health, about strategy. And today, we're going to crack that code together.
All right, let's dive right in. First things first, who exactly are we looking at here? So the company we're putting under the microscope is BLS E-Services. They're in the digital services sector. Now, keeping that in mind is going to be pretty important as we start to unpack all these figures.
Okay, on to the first, and you could argue the most important question you can ask about any business: are they actually bringing in more money? Is revenue growing? Before we get to the chart, let's just be super clear on what we mean by revenue. It's the top line, right? It's all the money coming in from sales before a single bill gets paid. It's a starting point for everything. And wow, this is where the story really starts to get interesting. Just look at this trend. Back in December 2023, revenue was at 8.2 crore. Then, just a quarter later, it jumps to 13.6 crore. And it doesn't stop, climbing again to 18.1 crore by September. See, that's not just growth. That's consistent, accelerating growth. And that is a very strong signal.
So the revenue is going up. That's fantastic. But are they actually keeping any of that money? This brings us to the next big question. Let's talk about profit.
Net profit? You know, this is the number that really matters. It's the bottom line. After you've paid for everything, materials, salaries, rents, taxes, the whole shebang, this is the cash that's actually left in the bank. It's the true test of a company's success.
And this chart just brilliantly shows why the story is so compelling. I mean, look at this. The profit growth is even more dramatic than the revenue growth. It goes from just 0.7 crore in profit, and then it just explodes to 6 crore the very next quarter, and then it keeps climbing to 8.5 crore. This tells you the company isn't just selling more. It's getting incredibly efficient at turning those sales into cold, hard cash. Just let that number sink in for a second. 8.5 crore rupees. That's the real headline here. That's the bottom line from an absolutely phenomenal quarter. Okay, so sales are up, profits are booming. But is the whole thing built on a solid foundation? Is the business itself healthy? For that, we need to take a quick snapshot of its overall financial situation. It really boils down to two key things: assets and liabilities. The easiest way to think about it is this. Assets are all the valuable stuff the company owns: cash, buildings, equipment. Liabilities? That's all the stuff it owes to other people, like loans and debts. You always want to see a lot more assets than liabilities. And this chart, well, it gives us a fantastic picture of the company's health. It shows us where the money comes from. A whopping 89% comes from equity. That's the owner's own funds. Only about 11% comes from debt. That is a seriously strong, low-risk structure. It means they have a ton of financial flexibility. So, we've looked at the top line, the bottom line, and the company's financial structure. Let's pull all these threads together. What's the final story these numbers are screaming at us? The story is incredibly clear, and it really comes down to three things. First, you've got strong and consistent revenue growth. Second, profitability isn't just growing, it's absolutely surging. And third, all of this is built on a really healthy, low-debt financial foundation. That's the powerful narrative we found hidden in the data. So there you have it. The numbers paint a really clear picture of a company that is hitting its stride, growing fast, and doing it profitably. The data tells us the story of where they've just been. The question that leaves us with is, what will the next chapter hold?